Okay, big concepts. Think Costa Rica. Okay, it's a really handy one country to talk about. They've succeeded really in economic development. That's what you need to say. And that actually their economic growth rate is pretty cool right now. It's about 2 to 3 or 4%. They've grown the fastest country in South America. Strategic trade theory. Ha-Joon Chang. Right, Ha-Joon Chang. Remember that they should protect their industry so that they could develop and diversify their economies. Remember, Angola gets 90% of its revenue from oil. It needs to diversify into different sectors. Logic. The USA and the UK took ages to develop their own industries, and we're expecting countries in Africa to develop their own industries when they're up against USA and the UK and the rest of Europe. It's pretty difficult. So therefore, we need to protect their industries so that they can develop, diversify, develop their own countries. Think the Green Revolution, Africa, intervention supply side could work really well. Next concepts, market-based versus interventionist, free trade or aid. We're coming close to the end of the syllabus now. Okay, market-based. The big one is free trade. Okay, we know free trade. Privatisation, low taxes, deregulation, trying to attract loads of FDI. Okay, or the opposite one. Interventions, roads, rail, build up your education system, better government, build up human capital, MRP. Remember that one? Experts on that one there. Okay, China has followed a market-based approach, but it's also a massive interventionist strategy as well, all of the time. So big funding for big projects like cars, steel, solar panels. Enormous sums of money like solar panels, 400 billion quid. Remember the UK? Over the next 5 years is spending 600 billion on everything. They just spent 400 billion pounds on solar panels. Okay, but they also have market-based reforms as well. So they have also attracted FDI, but actually the Chinese model is really interesting because what they did was they copied factories that were being built up in Japan, and then they could make the goods even cheaper. So that's how they got their competitive advantage. But they basically use both. That's the argument that I would use. Okay. Sorry, just trying to get hold of this one. It's a little bit tricky. Sorry about that. Okay, next one, 42. Okay, free trade. Benefits of free trade. Increased competition. Comparative advantage, dynamic efficiency, economies of scale, multiplier accelerator if you have export-led growth. So these are all the benefits. You can remember absolute advantage, really easy, 10, 5, 5, 10. You trade between the opportunity cost ratios, then you go to 20, 0, 0, 20, and then you go 10, 10, 10, 10. And this proves that trade is a good thing. Remember 30, 15, 5 and 10. 30, 15, 5 and 10. Remember, one bread is equal to half a jam, one bread, 2 jam, trade on a one-on-one basis, and we're quids in. Okay, so you have all of that. Cost of trade, loss of jobs, trade deficit, exploitation of resources, exploitation of LDCs, hits the environment. So then you could have a question on free aid or trade. So you've got to remember everything. What's good about free trade? Comparative advantage, absolute advantage, dynamic efficiency, more competition, economies of scale. Okay, all those sorts of things on there. I'll come in the fourth and fifth. Okay, good aid. Aid with no strings attached is always going to be good aid, isn't it? So imagine you go along to country like Ethiopia, said we're going to build you a green revolution, we're going to bring you schools, bring you right up to date with everything, no strings attached. Clearly that aid would be good. And if it was done in an uncorrupt way, great stuff. Okay? So aid with no strings attached is good. However, the argument against that is Dan Bisamoya in her book, this is really called Dead Aid, and she says too often Africa's been chasing the aid money rather than chasing money that will come in and look to develop businesses. It's become dependent on aid. It's led to corrupt officials, stopping people taking control of their own lives. So the aid has not been very good. So real harsh critic of the aid model. However, okay, it could be really good. And actually in an exam it gives you a chance to talk about intervention supply side as well. Okay, free trade. So these are all the arguments of free trade. Well, free trade is good. So perhaps you can argue, yeah, aid or trade, or perhaps aid and trade together would work really, really well for LDCs. Okay, got the idea on that one. Globalisation, causes of globalisation, explosion of financial capital, more FDI, deregulation of the financial market, containerisation and trade, take advantage of lower labour costs in different countries. Finally, exchange rates. We've already done a lot on exchange rates, really. But the advantage of floating is if you have a trade deficit, then the exchange rate will fall. Export prices fall, import prices fall, etc. Import prices rise. Okay. However, if the Marshall-Lerner equation holds, then your balance of payments will improve. And you can also have an independent monetary policy. You can set your own interest. You don't have to worry if interest rate goes to 0%. It just means that your exchange rate will fall. You don't have to worry about protecting your exchange rate. Okay, so the two big advantages: number one, solve your balance of payments problem, and number two, you can have an independent monetary policy. The right disadvantage of a floating exchange rate is that it could create cost push inflation, but overall, you have to have a floating exchange rate, really. Okay, next one on here. Customs Union Europe. Customs Union is a free trade area with a common and external tariff on it. Free trade, common and external tariff. Trade creation diagram on here, which is if we get rid of tariffs in Europe, then we also gain. So this is another advantage of free trade. Do you remember the free trade diagram? A, B, C, D. If you get rid of the tariff, you get an increase in consumer surplus of A, B, C, and D. And you also, the producer loses area A because this is home supply. The government loses area C in taxation revenue, but overall there is a net gain of B and D. But net loss, a net gain of B and D. Yeah, if you get rid of the tariff. Okay. Consumer gains, A, B, C in terms of the consumer surplus. The World Trade Organization, free trade is a good thing, but some people see it as an attack on less developed countries because the developed countries protect their own agricultural industries, and that's where less developed countries have a comparative advantage. Okay, and also because of free trade, they just smash up all the little industries in Africa and don't give them a chance to survive, so therefore they can't grow. Okay, stop this. This is the microeconomics. That is the whole of the micro course. So the whole of the macro course done. Thank you.